I don't know if I would fight a big ass spider for you. I
Shit. I'll
if
be like, fuck that shit. I'm
if
good.
that spider was as big as Shelob, I might just have to say peace out, bro. I would really have to like dig deep down and be like, is my life worth risking to save your life against this giant spider?
I'll throw rocks from like a football field away. I mean, like
Go
we'll throw
away,
a rock at it.
mean Shelob, go away.
Yeah, like why the fuck do they always gotta use big ass fucking spiders when it comes to fantasy shit? Like,
Always.
leave them alone. Like that. Things are fucking disgusting.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Saving Point Podcast. This is part 4 of our Lord of the Rings series. Part 1 was the complete guide. Part 2 was talking about the Fellowship of the Ring. Part 3 was talking about every major scene in the Two Towers. And then, of course, this one to finish off the trilogy. We're going to be talking about the Return of the King and all the major scenes. There's a lot of scenes in this one, but we're going to narrow it down just to 12 scenes because there's a lot of scenes and we're not going to get through all of them in just one podcast. So 12 scenes is what we're going to be talking about today. You can find all that in the description box below. You can go to whatever timestamp you wish to watch. But with that being said, before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Willie. I am one of your hosts, and your other host over here is my best friend. His name is Eduardo. Oh, Eduardo, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, man. How we doing today?
Tired, man. It's been a long journey. It's been a long series of Lord of the Rings so far for us, and we've been putting in the work, and we're right back at it with this banger of an episode, man.
Yeah, man. Well, we discussed this like towards the end of last year, and then the new year came, and then we watched the extended versions in theaters, and we're still talking about it. And then I honestly can't believe we're already at the Return of the King. We got probably like one more podcast I think after this, or one more episode in regards to Lord of the Rings specifically, for the time being at least. And yeah, it kind of feels weird that it's like all this build up, and then now it's like, damn, we're kind of pretty much almost done with this. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
man.
good.
We are almost done with it. We've gone through a lot so far, man. I think Fellowship and the Two Towers was it took a lot out of us. It took a lot out of me. Going through each scene and talking about it. As you all can tell if you watched it, I like to ramble on a little bit too long. So this episode we're gonna cut that down just a little bit, so it's not a 3 hour long episode, and save Eduardo some time here. Sorry, bro. But yeah, man. Before we jump right into it, anything you want to say about the way has been going? Anything you want to talk about to this movie in particular, or anything on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big movie. I think this is the movie that everyone always says is the best of the whole trilogy. I think it's the one that won like pretty much all the awards and stuff during that time also, which I mean, deservingly so. And like kind of like we talked about last time, like watching it in theaters just kind of became my favorite one, but like Two Towers had always been my favorite one, like before that. So it's still kind of hard to really pick which one's my favorite. Um, but yeah, we're here. Like I said, that experience watching it in theaters though for sure. I'm glad that finally was able to watch these movies in theaters after such a long time, and yeah, definitely one of my like favorite experiences just to be able to watch such in theaters. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching, commenting on the clips and stuff like that. Appreciate you guys, and um, yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get started, I guess.
Hell yeah, man. Let's go. Let's get going. So before we get into all the major scenes that we're gonna be talking about today, just to give you all a little bit of a synopsis, a summary of what this movie is all about. So, The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is the epic conclusion to the trilogy, directed by Peter Jackson, of course. The movie follows the journey of Frodo and Sam as they continue their quest to destroy the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom. Meanwhile, Aragorn must fulfill his destiny as the rightful king of Gondor and lead his people in a final battle against the dark forces of Sauron. As the fate of Middle Earth hangs in the balance, friendships are tested, sacrifices are made, and the true power of love and courage is revealed. The film is filled with stunning visuals, intense action sequences, and emotional moments as the characters face their greatest challenges yet. In the end, good triumphs over evil, and the world is saved from the darkness that threatens to consume it. So, this is the conclusion, Eduardo. This is it. This is the last of the trilogy, The Return of the King. And,
Mhm.
yeah, we have a lot to get going. So, let's just get started, man. We're going to jump into the first scene here that the movie kind of tells us. So far, Fellowship of the Ring, it was the prologue, and then it was the first scene was the Shire and Bilbo's birthday. The Two
Mhm.
Towers, the opening was Gandalf fighting the Balrog, and then it jumped to the ambush of Gollum that Frodo and Sam took over. So this one kind of does it in a different way, but is also another way to kind of suck in the audience to another great movie, man. Of course, this is where we get a little backstory of how Smeagol found the One Ring. So, with that being said,
Mhm.
we're gonna jump right into it, man. It's Smeagol's birthday, which which initially calls for celebration, but it quickly turns dark, very very dark. So let's see. The scene begins with Deagle. This is Smeagol's best friend at that time. They're in a boat in the middle of a river, in the middle of a lake, in the middle of a stream, whatever you want to call it. And Deagle pulls the one ring from the river, and he is excited as Deagle shows the ring to Smeagol. Um, a pretty big shift occurs with Smeagol. Smeagol's eyes widen with greed and obsession, marking the beginning of his transformation into Gollum. Smeagol demands to take the ring from Deagle, who is reluctant to part away with it. And then, of course, Smeagol's desperation, jealousy. He repeatedly claims the ring is his birthday gift, and he wants it. He wants it. It's his birthday, Wardo, and Smeagol wants it. This already showcases his possessive nature. Pretty much foreshadows the violence that he has coming his way. The argument quickly escalates into a physical struggle. Smeagol, driven by primal instincts and madness, attacks his best friend Deagle. And Eduardo, this attack was pretty damn brutal. I mean, Smeagol
Mhm.
beat the holy hell out of his best friend, fucking Deagle, man. Like, this was probably one of the most violent scenes, I think, in the whole trilogy. And I
Mhm.
loved how Howard Shore didn't even do anything major with his score. He left it very like an eerie, like kind of like a horror themed score when Smeagol was beating the hell out of Deagle. It was pretty cool. Um, but Smeagol ultimately strangles Deagle, his best friend. He kills him. Damn Smeagol, portraying a shocking transformation from friend to murderer. It solidifies the extent of the ring's corrupting influence as Smeagol succumbs to his basic instincts. So the One Ring pretty much took a grip to Smeagol and transformed him into this menacing Gollum. After killing Deagle, Smeagol is seen holding the ring with a mix of triumph and horror. This moment marks the full emerge of Gollum's character, like I just mentioned. Um, but yeah, I think this was a pretty big and important flashback. I don't know when this
Mhm.
flashback happened in the books. I don't know if this was earlier on and Peter Jackson just decided to tack this on to the beginning of Return of the King, or it was actually the beginning of the book. I don't know. But it'd be very, very curious to know because I thought it was a good choice regardless, Peter Jackson to put this as the opening to Return of the King because it gave a much needed backstory on who Gollum was. Because so far, all we knew was this Gollum be like this little creature walking around and harassing Sam, right? but
Mhm.
yeah, this was a very intense opening, a very intense scene, and a very intense flashback. And now we know who Gollum and Smeagol really is. But yeah, that's a little bit of a quick summary through that. Anything you want to add, Eduardo?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. Or well, I'd always thought about that also is like why did he include it in the third film and not? I mean, he wasn't in the first one, um, but I mean, you heard his voice when he gave out the information of where the ring was, and then I was like, and then he finally gets introduced fully in the second one. So I was, why didn't he do it there or whatever? But I mean, it made sense, I guess, maybe in the third one. No, but yeah, we finally got like a little backstory on how Smeagol got the ring in the first place, um, and then also, I mean, it shows right like how strong like the power of the ring is. Like he has like at that point like he hasn't even touched it. Like it wasn't even in his hands before he's like, it's mine and like I want it and like I said like they're best friends and like it's just a ring that he found and like not even Deagle was like that possessed over it. I guess I mean at least it didn't show in there, but it shows the power that the ring has over anyone I guess. And yeah, I mean he transformed him into Gollum and we have like this infamous creature that, like I said, is associated with like everyone knows about when it comes to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, man, the corruption that the ring does really do to everybody is crazy, and everyone has their own experience with the One Ring too. I mean, like Boromir, it drove him crazy, it drove him mad, and then Gollum or Smeagol, it just looked at him and he took him just like that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how quickly your life can be transformed by the One Ring. um. But yeah, we're gonna move on to our next major scene. So all these scenes are not necessarily in order, and they're in order as much as we can because we are bouncing around a lot because there's a ton of scenes in this movie. But with that being said, we're gonna jump over to Eduardo. Eduardo's gonna be talking about the importance of the lighting of the beacons. So take it away, Eduardo.
Yeah, like I said, we're not gonna go over every single scene, like you said, and like the movie bounces around and stuff like that. So like as this is happening, it cuts to a different scene and stuff like that. So, but yeah, the lighting of the beacons we think is important in this movie as far as what it represents and means. Um, just a little backstory before they're lit. Gandalf arrives at Gondor with Pippin, uh, pretty much to kind of Gandalf offer his guidance and pretty much warn Denethor, which finally gets introduced. He's the steward of Gondor. So he finally gets introduced. Like I said, Gandalf goes and offers his guidance, tell him that the enemy, being Sauron, is really right at his door at this point. So tell him Gondor has to come up in arms. They have to fight. Telling him to light um, the beacons in order for Gondor or sorry for Rohan to you know aid the call. I mean, pretty much anyone in Middle Earth at this point, um, to come up and finally have this big huge battle to determine the fate of Middle Earth. So Denethor of course refuses. He's already pretty much kind of given up at this point in a way. Boromir died, so that was a like pretty hard for him to take, and it's almost like his life ended. Um, when Boromir died, because although he has his other son Faramir, he doesn't really care for him at all, unfortunately. But Gandalf pretty much, like I said, takes it upon himself, has Pippin go up to the tower where the beacon is at. Pippin lights it, and then again, like I said, it signifies the importance of um, the call for help, pretty much like the renewal of alliances between Gondor and Rohan mainly, especially after. Um, I mean, that kind of shows you how great of a king um, Theoden is, because of like how we talked about in Two Towers, where like alliances are dead, like Gondor never answered our call, they never came to help us, but regardless, he knows how big and important this fight is, literally for everyone. So like again, it's just a renewal of the alliances between Gondor and Rohan. It's spreads hope again, unity, as everyone kind of gathers to finally, hopefully, defeat Sauron. Once the beacons are lit, Aragorn is the one that tells Theoden that the beacons have been lit, and then he says Rohan will answer the call. So yeah, it's pretty much that scene there.
Yeah, man, that was an epic scene. I love the shot that Peter Jackson did when the beacons are lit, and it showed
Yeah,
every beacon being lit across the across the Misty Mountains. I don't know what mountains it is, but
yeah,
I thought that was pretty dope how he zoomed out and showed that, and then of course, fucking Howard Shore had the amazing score behind that part as well. But I think that was a very, very important moment, a very big turning point to the whole film, and I think that scene just needed to be talked about. It's not a big scene, but it's a very important scene for the story. So I thought it would be nice to talk about that particular scene. But yeah, man, good job covering that.
yep, yeah. Like you said, it's I think yes, definitely significant in the plot for the whole movie. Like I said, it wasn't like a big crazy scene or anything either, but I felt like it was emotional for sure. Like I said, I mentioned in the earlier, like this movie, watching it in theaters for some reason just made me like super emotional. And then like that scene where he's like, Rohan will answer the call. It's just like, again, it's just like the big world threat of like Sauron, and like again, like I said, it shows how great of a king Theoden is, and like he'll fight, until he can't no more. So yeah, it's definitely a good scene.
Hell yeah, man. I could not have said it better myself. Moving on to our next major scene here. We're going to be breaking down the attack on Frodo when he's in the mountain of Shelob, the giant spider, and all that. So, with that being said, man, I personally don't like this scene a whole lot because I don't like spiders, but it is what it is. So I'm going to talk about it instead. But yeah, Frodo and Sam. So basically, Gollum tricks Frodo into thinking that Sam ate all of the Lamnon's bread, and Gollum pretty much calls Sam a fat, stupid hobbit, and Frodo believes everything that Gollum says because Frodo is very, very weak at this point, and then it's a very, very sad moment because Frodo's like, "Get the fuck out of here, Sam." Sam's like, "I just traveled all the way from the Shire for your ass. What the fuck do you mean?" But and then Gollum's like, "Ha ha," but yeah, and then pretty much Gollum shows Frodo the way into this mountain, and then Gollum just fucking books it. He's nowhere to be found. And then Frodo's wandering around, and he sees all these spider webs, and he's hearing things crawling around, and he's freaking the fuck out. And yep, sure enough, as he moves deeper, Shelob is visually emphasized as a monstrous spider. Her presence symbolizes the pervasive evil in Middle Earth, and that is for sure what she is. But yeah, she attacks Frodo in the mountain there, incapacitating him with her venom. This moment reflects Frodo's increasingly vulnerability to the ring's burden. He falls into a state of despair. Pretty much, the venom hits him, and I think that scene is pretty epic because Elijah Wood, man, with the spit of his mouth when he got stung, I'm like, I don't know if that was just his spit or like they added some extra stuff, but I'm like, that was gross as fuck. But he really played. I felt the pain though, man. Like he really made me feel like I just got stung by this big ass beast. Um, but as he's kind of getting wrapped in her web there, we have the return of the fat stupid hobbit that Gollum pushed out of Sam. Samwise the Brave, which he is. He really showed up for Frodo big this time. Sam, who has been reluctant but loyal, steps up. He resists fear and uncertainty, drawing upon his love for Frodo and their friendship. He decides to confront Shelob, showcasing his bravery. He says, I will not let you go, demonstrating his determination. Sam eventually uses Sting, which is, of course, the dagger given by Bilbo to Frodo, to fight Shelob. It really, so this moment reinforces the significance of how much is on stake, right? Because Sam didn't have to come back, but Sam, we all know, is the most loyal character in the entire trilogy, right? And he came all the way back from being kicked out by his best friend Frodo to come back to fight this giant spider as a hobbit with this little dagger called Sting. But he did it. He incapacitates Shelob momentarily, and then he pretty much goes to Frodo and unwraps him, and he's like, "Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead, Frodo." And that's pretty much the big part of that whole scene is just Sam coming back to save Frodo. And then of course Gollum is like nowhere to be found. He's just like, he dipped, dude. Like, Eduardo, he's again like he's the guide for Frodo and Sam, and he just dips. He promised to guide them to Mordor, and we all believed him. And then he just like leaves Frodo to die with this giant monster just because he wanted to take the One Ring. He led them to this mountain where he knew that Shelob could kill him. But I thought this scene was very, very traumatizing for me as a kid, and even now as an adult, I don't like to go back and watch it. So, but yeah, of course, I would have to cover it. But yeah, that's what happened in that scene. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm glad you did because I was like, fuck that. Yeah, like why the fuck do they always gotta use big ass fucking spiders when it comes to fantasy shit?
Always.
Like, leave them alone. Like that. Things are fucking disgusting.
I know. Always, dude.
But yeah, no, it was an epic scene though, because of the fact, like you said, like after how fucked up Frodo was to Sam, like he came back, fucking literally, her injured the spider himself, and then saved Frodo. So it was pretty like heartwarming, you know, like emotional, like I said, because of how he just said "fuck off, Sam," and then like just heartwarming, like you said, Samwise the Brave, like Sam is really like the MVP of the fucking of Lord of the Rings, honestly. Like if it wasn't for him, like I don't think Frodo would ever made it to fucking Mount Doom and shit. So, so yeah, it like I said again, it shows like how great of a character that Sam is.
Yeah, man.
How good of a friend he is.
I know, right? I don't know, Wardo. I don't know if I would fight a big ass spider for you.
Shit. I'd be like, fuck that shit.
If that spider was as big as Shelob, I might just have to say peace out, bro. I would really have to like dig deep down and be like, is Eduardo's life worse? Is my life worth risking to save your life against this giant spider that I'm just probably gonna curl up in a ball and just like kill myself anyway? So like, but yeah, Sam definitely showcased his loyalty there, Brad.
I'll throw rocks from like a football field away. I mean,
go away, mean Shelob, go away. That's funny shit. But we're going to move on. So the next thing we want to talk about is Eduardo's going to take us on a journey of when Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, they went to go speak with the army of the dead, bro, because they desperately need help in this war. And they decide, let's take up the dead. And but yeah, Eduardo, take it away, man.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty big scene also because as pretty much as Rohan travels, is on his way to Gondor. They kind of set site on like a little campsite or whatever, and they just kind of gather as many people as they can. They kind of realize that there's just not enough people to face Sauron and this big army that they have. So they kind of lose hope for a little bit as well. But in that moment, Aragorn Aragorn kind of so first before that happens, Elrond actually shows up and meets Aragorn in the tent. He explains that Arwen is dying. Her fate is pretty much tied to the ring at this point, and that she will die if pretty much if the ring doesn't get destroyed. So he kind of shows up, kind of gives like this little monologue of kind of like hope and everything, and he tells them that he should speak to this army of the dead. But Aragorn says like no, like the army of the dead they're murderers, they're traitors, they don't believe in anything, and they don't answer to anyone. But Elrond says that they will answer, they will listen, to the king of Gondor, and then pulls out the Andril, if I'm saying it correct, the sword that was reforged from the shards of the Narsil, and the sword that Isildur used to take the ring off of Sauron in the beginning. So they were able to forge the sword again, give it to the rightful heir of Gondor, and pretty much after that they kind of Gimli and Legolas kind of go down this Dimholt road, that's what they call it, on the way to speak to the army of the dead. And then once they get there, again, like Aragorn tries to convince them, be like, hey, like this, you swore an oath to the last king of Gondor to come to his aid. So they became cursed in the first place because that's what they did. They swore an oath to Isildur at the time to come to his aid. But when that time came, they fled. They were originally just like men of the mountain, swore this oath to Isildur. They didn't show up when they needed him, so he cursed them to never rest until they fulfilled that pledge. Of course, the line of kings was broken, but Aragorn is back to restore that line and speaks to them as, like I'm the heir, and I will honor that fulfillment if you guys, come and fight for us. So yeah, pretty much that's how it goes, and they answer the call to the king of Gondor. But yeah, so like Willie said, this was pretty not the craziest biggest scene ever, but it's also plays a significant part in the whole story, especially in this movie. No, you're muted.
Thank you, sir. It really did. I thought the whole visual aspects of that scene too with the dead was like
Yeah,
spot on, man. And I really like that how Peter Jackson actually used like real actors and real like makeup, and then he just like the only CGI that was made was with the them like glowing green, but like they're like actual actors with like dead makeup, right? And it's like it's pretty
yeah,
cool that he actually used like real people. It's not all fake, but yeah, it's like you said, man, it's definitely a significant moment, another turning point in the whole story because without the army of the dead, they probably would have pulled it off, but it would have been probably a lot harder and a lot more people probably would have died. So I think they were definitely a big part of their journey, man. But yeah, good job covering that.
yeah. Once like I said, it's like very significant because like once we get to that battle of the Pelennor fields, um, the Army of the Dead definitely. I mean, there's a bunch of them. So yeah, without them, they wouldn't have won that battle and then ultimately, won the war against Sauron. But yeah,
Hell yeah, man. Well, moving on. We're going down to major scene number 5 here, where I'm going to be talking about Denethor's madness and kind of Pimpin and or is it yeah, Pimpin saves
Yeah, Pippin.
Faramir from his death. But um, but yeah, I mean, Eduardo kind of mentioned earlier that Denethor mental decline is kind of exacerbated by his fixation on the One Ring and the loss of his son Boromir. Boromir, his favorite son, his favorite son, Boromir. Oh, Boromir does nothing wrong. Boromir is the greatest. But yeah, as the war escalates, he becomes increasingly desperate and irrational. But Denethor feels the weight of impending doom, which basically his despair is reflecting in his decision to prepare for death rather than fight for his city. Eduardo, Denethor, he's supposed to be like this captain of Gondor here, and no, he's like, I'm gonna prepare for everyone to die instead because my dear Boromir died and I hate my other son. Anyway, sorry. Going on, Denethor. So his end pretty much comes when he tries to burn himself and Faramir. So he pretty much casts Faramir out. He's like, go fight this random battle on outside here, and like, don't come back unless you get the One Ring and this and that. And then he comes back and he's like, of course you couldn't do it because Boromir would and you couldn't. Type of shit. But Faramir comes back and he's severely injured, and they think he's dead. So they thought. So Denethor thought, but he tries to burn himself and Faramir alive on the funeral pyre. He believes that death is a more honorable choice than facing defeat. Uh, Pretty much, they have them both on the pyre, and Pippin over here, he's like, he's alive, Faramir's alive. Pimpin, having formed a strong bond with Faramir, cries for help as Denethor seeks to kill his son. This act of desperation plays a huge part in Faramir's life, pretty much. But Gandalf confronts Denethor as he attempts to ignite the pyre. He pleads with Denethor to reconsider. However, Denethor is too far gone in his madness to heed Gandalf's words. He's like, nah, I'm not listening to nobody. He doesn't really like pay attention to anybody. He's just there. He lights the fire. He's like, for Gondor, we're gonna die. But Denethor succeeds in igniting the pyre. However, when he sees that Faramir is still alive, a moment of clarity kind of flashes across his face. Eduardo, he's kind of like, oh, Faramir's alive, but it's still not Boromir. Revealing the depth of his lost potential. But Denethor sits up upon the burning pyre. But pretty much, who was it? I think it was Gandalf that kicks him off of it, or Gandalf saves Faramir, and then it pretty much has Denethor's pissed. He's like, how dare you not kill my only left son? And then he just books it, bro. He's like on fire, and he just runs from one side of the city to the other side of the city just to jump off the tower to kill himself because he's on fire. And I'm like, what a weak piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck was that? Like, you had all this power in your hand, but because your dear old Boromir had to die and you hate your son Faramir, and like you just had to like run off the cliff on fire. Like, all that could have been like neglected. Like, you could not have, like, none of that should have happened whatsoever. It's like, it's just crazy because like the madness that even the ring had to corrupt him, and the ring was so far away, but because he wanted the ring and Boromir couldn't give him it, and if Faramir couldn't get it for him, now he's like, all hell's, we all need to die then. Let's just all die and let's just end it. But yeah, that's pretty much how that scene pretty much went. But anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because like I said, we haven't read the books, but well, so I'm trying to read the books finally, for the audience. But so I am curious to see once I get to Return of the King, like if like how Denethor is portrayed, like is it like the same kind of way, and stuff like that, or like how big of a part does he have in the book compared to the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's fucking stupid. Like, I mean, first of all, like he's literally burning his only other son alive. Like what the fuck? And then just for him to also like end up wanting to like kill himself or burn himself, whatever. It's like, bro, like, yeah, like burn yourself alive. Like fucking Faramir ain't doing shit. Like he literally went to go die for you, pretty much, and like, and he's still alive. Let him fucking live. Fucking, fucking asshole. But yeah, Pippin pretty much kind of saves the day there, and unfortunately, Faramir, doesn't die. He's still alive, and then, like you said, fucking Denethor just fucking dives off the fucking top rope. Like a swanton bomb off the top.
he, he eliminated himself from the Royal Rumble, bro. He's just like, it's like, nah, fuck this shit, I'm out. He dipped, bro.
Fucking mankind of hell himself.
Yeah, dude. Like, none of that had happened, but anyways.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's pretty much that scene. It was a pretty major scene, I think, in the whole film. But we're gonna move on because we're almost halfway through. So we're gonna move on to major scene 6. Eduardo's gonna take us on the journey, the epic speech of King Theoden to the Rohirrim, and as they charged into battle. Take it away, bro.
Yep. This is pretty short scene. Pretty short speech that it kind of gives, but it's very powerful, especially it being pretty much the final battle in the trilogy. So yeah, the King Theoden and the Rohirrim finally arrive to this battle outside of Gondor, and yeah, he gives this pretty nice speech and monologue as the battle is already happening. Like I said, the army arrives. The speech that he pretty much gives is he's like, "Arise, arise, riders of Rohan," and then he says, "Spears shall be shaken, shields shall be splintered, a sword a day, a red day, the sun rises." So he's trying to get the like I said, the army to rise up, get prepared. Like, even though they know they're outnumbered, they're willing to die for Middle Earth, for the survival of men, and hopefully destroy Sauron. And then he kind of does he goes through everyone, just like clanks the spears with his sword. And then the final words, he's like, "Right now, right for ruin and the world's ending." And then they yell death 3 times. And then they blow the horn. And then they're so epic. The fucking writers of the theme. Oh my god, it just plays. And I'm like, bro, it's so fucking good. like again, like watching this shit in theaters. You can't just not get fucking emotional watching that shit. And then yeah, just fucking chaos, of course, with the fucking scene. But the fucking theme just, oh my god, so fucking good in that moment.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, if you don't mention the fucking theme, we're gonna fight. Like I might just cancel this whole show, the whole podcast, like just walk away from it all. So that theme, man, is the first time that the theme has reached full climax of that theme, and we finally hear the full version, because the Two Towers kept giving us little parts here and there, and then we finally hear the full fucking theme, and it's so epic, and that's why it's still my favorite score to this day, because of how epic it is. But yeah, I mean, King Theoden, man, poor guy, man. He got corrupted. He was like a zombie, man, and then he got saved, and then he just came back swinging, dude. He fought the Battle of Helm's Deep, and then he rode his entire army to battle and like all this, and he was almost dead. Like it's crazy, man.
and and knowing they're outnumbered, knowing that he's gonna fucking die, like he doesn't get, like he does not care, man. Like that, like yeah, Theoden, like is, yeah, I'm sorry, like he's a man for sure. Like like I said, he's a great fucking king. He's for his people. He'll fucking fight. Like you definitely want him on your side for sure.
Yeah, man, you do. You fucking do. I want to. But yeah, epic scene. Good job covering that, Eduardo. We're gonna move on to another speech here that I'm gonna take care of. It's also a quick scene. That's not gonna be that long at all. So our next major scene is, of course, Aragorn's speech at the Black Gate. So I'm gonna read you all the full speech. It's not that long, but I'm gonna read it you all right now. So Aragorn at the Black Gate, he has a whole army that he's in charge of, and his epic speech goes like this. He says, hold your ground, sons of Gondor, of Rohan, my brothers. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day, an hour of wolves and shattered shields, when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West. I mean, how fucking epic! All right, already it's like it's so epic. It's like fitting for Aragon and who he is. And just the way and the presence that he has when he, delivers that speech, you can just feel like I want to ride into battle now. Like you really like made me feel like I'm a part of something special. But but yeah, just a little bit of a background. He stands before his army and he delivers this speech to motivate his men facing overwhelming odds. Just like you said, man, the odds was not in their favor at all. Knowing that everyone is pretty much riding to their death at this point. But of course, Aragorn is referencing the legacy of their forebears, calling upon their valor. It's not just for victory, but to uphold their honor and freedom. And of course, he frames the battle as a defining moment for Gondor, asserting their fight is vital for the future existence of their people. And then, after his speech, he stands he stands there, only him, and then the all-seeing eye whispers to Aragorn,
Mhm.
and he's there. The all-seeing eye is one last attempt to get
Yeah,
Aragorn, one last attempt to reel him in. They need Aragorn. He's the king of Gondor. He's the return of the king, right? And then what does Aragorn do? He looks back at everybody, and all he says is, "For Frodo," and then fucking everyone charges, and we have the Battle of the Black Gate right there, man. And man, I'm getting chills and goosebumps
yeah,
just thinking about it. But I just had to mention his speech and just the atmosphere that it brought to that whole scene and that whole movie, man. But yeah, anything else you want to add, Eduardo?
yeah, dude. It's so great to finally see Aragorn finally accept, you know, that he's the rightful heir, that he's, the king that he should be, because you don't really see that until this movie, because especially the first one, he just doesn't really want any part of it. The second one, you can kind of see him, like you spend a lot more time with Aragorn throughout that whole movie. So like we kind of talked about, like you kind of see a different kind of side, and you kind of see him grow. But definitely in this third one, he's like, yeah, I'm the fucking king. Like, let's fucking do it. So like, it's so great to fucking see that. And again, yeah, like great fucking speech. And like, yeah, man, like that moment again, like watching that shit in fucking theaters, like that moment where again Sauron's speaking to him, and it's very like, oh shit, like is he gonna fucking get him? Like not fucking Aragorn, It's like holy shit. Uh, and then like you said, he turns, he says for Frodo, and they just fucking uh charge again to fucking battle, man. It's epic for sure.
Eduardo, imagine reading this in the 1950s when it was written. How epic that would have been of just reading the book when he just
Hmm.
says for Frodo and you're like reading that line and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, you're like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna die? But yeah, it's pretty epic, man. You can't go wrong with Aragorn, man. He's definitely if not he's one of the most important characters in this entire franchise, man. But moving on, we still have a lot more to cover. Eduardo's going to move on with us. He's going to be covering Eowyn's slays the Witch King plus King Theoden's death. Take it away, man. What you got?
So yeah, man. Again, we go back to fucking Theoden, and again, like the fucking guy he is, and like you said, he's gone through so fucking much, and then to unfortunately die at the hands of the Witch King of Angmar. Um, Fucking sad, man. Um, but yeah, so as the fight's going on, the Witch King arrives with this dragon, and pretty much just knocks Theoden down off his horse and injures him really badly. The horse just lands on top of him, and as the Witch King touches down, steps off, or well, he's not even off the dragon yet, but he kind of says like, like I'm gonna, like, one last hit and you're fucking dead, pretty much. And then that's when Eowyn, as the shield maiden, the mighty shield maiden that she is, steps in front of both the Nazgul and where Theoden is laying, um, chops off the dragon's head, pretty much kills the dragon at that point. The Witch King steps off the dragon, fucking tries to, of course, attack and kill Eowyn with a huge fucking spiked mace that he fucking has. That's just massive. He's just fucking swinging that shit around. Um, he hits her shield, completely destroys the shield, and then he says, "No man can kill me." And then that's where Mary comes up, stabs the Witch King in the leg, um, hurts him in that. Well, he hurts his arm in the process too. Like that stab like really affects him, which you can kind of you can tell like how like this power of the ring and like how much kind of power and stuff that they even possess. But this is what like the epic moment. Eowyn comes up, takes her helmet off, and then says, "I am no man," and then just stabs him in the face, pretty much, just in the openness of his armor, of his helmet, and then that's pretty much the way the Witch King dies. And then Eowyn and Theoden have like this little moment of them speaking to each other. It's very heartwarming. But yeah, it's pretty epic, man. Comes to the rescue of Theoden. Unfortunately, he dies, but she was able to slay the Witch King.
Yeah, man. That was my hand hurts just watching her hand hurt after she stabs him.
Yeah.
Like her poor little hand is like it collapsed like in her like body and I'm like, man, my hand is like aching now because it looks so painful. But
Yeah.
I want to point out how the way that she was portrayed in Two Towers, she couldn't do nothing. Like she had to stay back. She had to protect the kids, right? And
Mm.
then now she's like her full like she was able to go to battle and then she
Mhm.
killed the Witch King. It's like, she was always put to the side, but now she played an important part of killing a big, strong character, right? And I thought that was a really good story writing of how her character developed to become what it is that she did. It was pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, she finally gets her moment because, like I said, the mighty shield maiden that she is, that she wants to showcase. Theoden is very protective of her, of course, and doesn't want her in battle, but she finally uh, sneaks in there and showcases, what she can do. So yeah, it's pretty fucking epic.
Yeah, man.
Her moment, her scene.
Well, we're gonna move on. So the next thing I want to talk about, this can be a kind of a collaboration with you, Eduardo. If you have anything that you want to add on after I'm done talking what I gotta talk about, but we're gonna talk about some battle scenes. There's a lot of battle scenes. If we talk about all battle scenes, we'll be here for 2 hours straight talking about just the battle scenes alone. But we're not gonna be talking about all of them. I picked out a handful that was pretty cool that I just want to talk about. First one I want to talk about is Legolas, and his takedown of the elephant oil, I don't know how to fucking say how they say that, but yeah, the giant mammoth.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool, man. I mean, like they're all in battle, and then they see like these giant mammoths, man, and there's people like inside, and like they're all fighting. Is like, how are we gonna take down this giant ass thing? But I mean, as Legolas, as the graceful elf as he is, right? He climbs on this damn thing, and he's like shooting the people on top of the mammoth while he's trying to climb up. All the arrows stuck on the legs of this giant fucking creature, right? And then he just like kills everybody up top. And then he even cuts down the whole harness where they're like standing in, and then so like gracefully he just slides down the fucking trunk and he's done. And then the best thing is when Gimli says that still counts as one. Even though he probably killed like 60 people plus a fucking a giant elephant looking thing. And then Gimli's like, nope, you still that still counts as one. Hilarious. But I think that's a very standout moment of this movie too, is that scene of just Legolas just taking it's we have not seen Legolas like be a badass yet, and now we finally got to see him be like this badass warrior that we all knew he was, but we haven't seen. So we finally got to see it, man.
Yeah, I wish he had more moments like that. Because he's like so gracefully, so fucking effortless. Like, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes of like the whole franchise, just because how fucking clean he does everything. But yeah, like the only other moment, like I said, is like the moment I talked about at Helm's Deep, where he goes down like the stair or the
Yeah,
steps and does the shield thing. But like I wish he had just more moments of those because it's fucking sick as fuck to see.
yeah, it is,
Um,
man.
but yeah, man, that was a good fucking scene.
The other battle scene I want to talk about is, of course, when the army of the dead arrive. I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty much the orcs and the orcai and all of them are like, yeah, we got like they're like, we're gonna take control and they can't win and we're gonna kill them all. And then out of nowhere, this boat arrives, and then Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas jump out of the boat, and then the orcs are just laughing. They're like, it's only three people. And then all of a sudden you have this whole army of the dead that comes out of it, and the look on the orc's face is hilarious. They're like, "Oh fuck!" But I mean, the army of the dead, man, they just like they're so quick, they're so fast, they're just like floating, and they just like they like it's crazy how much like so. I don't know if they actually kill them. I read that they only brought them fear, and they actually didn't even kill them, and they scared the orcs so bad that the orcs ran away. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that was just in the books or whatever, but I guess the army of the dead actually can't even kill anything. They're just there to fucking scare them, which
Yeah,
is kind of crazy to like think about, which kind of
yeah,
makes sense, I guess, but like I don't know. But in the movie it looks like they kill them,
yeah.
but yeah, I thought the arrival of the army of the dead was a pretty badass scene on the battlefield.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because in the scene where it said Aragorn's talking to him, I think Legolas shoots an arrow at one of them and it just goes through him, like it doesn't even do anything. So it would only make sense for for them to also not be able to like actually physically kill someone. And then like we know like the Nazgul kind of has like it's not showcased in the movie, but I'm sure it does in the book because I mean that's the description of one of the powers is like the fear they invoke on other enemies. Um, so it would, like you said, make sense for them to either I don't know like pass out or actually run away or just kind of freeze up because of like the fear that they cause or whatever. So, but yeah, it was a pretty epic scene. Like I said, like they come off the ships and then they think it's only them three, and then the whole fucking army just comes and like that's the turning point. Really, that's when um, the battle was won at that point because there's just
Yeah.
so many dead of the dead peoples.
Yeah, man. And then the last battle scene I want to talk about is, of course, at the end. Once Frodo kind of destroys everything, the explosion of Mordor, bro. I mean, like this was pretty damn epic. Of course, just the way it looked. You have Mordor collapsing, and you have the eye, falling down, and you have this big explosion, and just a wave that it sets off, and all the orcs just fucking like get
Yeah,
wiped out, and then there's like craters in the earth. Everything drops to the soul of
yeah,
the earth, and it's just crazy. I think that explosion was like one of the best ending to a movie, a battle scene, like a whole battlefield was just gone. Like there was so much going on, and just that explosion, like everything was just gone, bro. But I thought it was a pretty cool scene that needed to be talked about.
no, yeah, for sure. Like I said, once the ring finally gets destroyed, like I said, you can tell how much power this ring had over everyone, and I mean Sauron himself, um, and like it should have ended with like I said, a big ass fucking explosion once the ring
Mm-hmm.
is destroyed. So yeah, definitely a big moment at the end of the movie.
But yeah, that's all the pretty much the battle scenes I wanted to just talk about. Any other scenes in your mind that you want to mention?
No, that's pretty much the big ones for that scene.
Cool, man. Well, we're just gonna keep on rocking. Eduardo, you have a big one coming, man. So Eduardo's gonna take us through the epic conclusion, really, where Frodo and Sam reaches Mount Doom, and where Sam has to carry Frodo, and Gollum shows up, and how the ring gets destroyed eventually, and everything afterwards. So, Eduardo,
Mm-hmm.
man, you have a big job. Sorry,
Yeah,
but take it away.
yeah. I was like, this definitely the longest and biggest scene for sure to talk about. Yeah, man, this is it, man. They finally fucking made it. Frodo and Sam made it to Mount Doom. Um, uh, yeah, it's a very deep, very emotional um moment scene. Um, both showcase both Sam and Frodo just being exhausted. They they came all this way from the Shire. Frodo, of course, being possessed by the ring. You can tell how much more effect it's taken over him in this movie specifically. Um, and then they have this pretty like enduring moment where, like I said, they're both just exhausted. They're just laying on the ground, and then Sam kind of recalls the Shire and just everything good about the Shire and back home and just the stuff that they've missed. And then Frodo, he's like, I don't recall anything. Like all I see is him. Like he literally says, all I can see is Sauron. Um, and then um, and then Sam like says, big epic and emotional scene and monologue that he says. He's like, let's be rid of this. Let's be rid of it once and for all. Um, and then he says, "Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you." And he just fucking, it's so sad. It's so fucking good. And he picks him up. He just fucking carries him to the top of to the entrance. But right before they get to the entrance, fucking Gollum comes back and just fucking attacks them both and jumps on their backs and tries to rip the fucking ring off. Uh, and and then Sam and Frodo, or sorry, Sam and Gollum pretty much kind of get into it more one on one. which kind of gives the opportunity for Frodo to finally run all the way up to the mountain, up to the entrance. And then it cuts to them finally both inside of the um, well of Mount Doom, in the fucking the bridge that they have there. Um, Again, another emotional scene, and it's kind of crazy that it was, for me, it was kind of crazy that it was portrayed in that way, especially because of how similar it pretty much ended with Isildur. Well, him and Elrond were there. Elrond was telling him to throw it in the thing. Isildur says no, and just walks off with the ring. So it was almost pretty much a similar scene. Like, you would figure, like, Frodo would just finally, all right, like, I'm tossing this shit, but no, like, the power is that strong. Sam's like, just throw it in there, destroy it. The ring whispers to Frodo and turns around and says, no, the ring is mine. And it's kind of crazy to think that the only reason how it really got destroyed is because in that moment, Gollum comes back, pretty much just knocks Sam out pretty much, and jumps on Frodo. Well, when he said, the ring is mine, he actually puts it on, and then Gollum is still able to jump on him as he's invisible, and he fucking bites his fucking finger off the finger that has the ring, and then fucking Gollum is just jumping for fucking joy that he has the ring again. Calls it my precious for the last time, and again, like I said, like, it doesn't even seem like Frodo's even trying to push him off the thing himself. Like, he's literally trying to rip it from Gollum himself, and that's how they both just trip over it and just fall over the fucking ledge. And then Gollum just ultimately falls off completely, just into the fucking fire. He's dead. The ring still stands up on the flames, which is kind of cool. And then you see the fucking the letters, the markings of the ring for the last time, because of the fire. You can only see it with fire, so I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, the ring is finally destroyed at that point. Frodo is still just hanging off the ledge, and then that little moment where, like, you don't know what's gonna happen. Is Frodo gonna, like, give up in that moment? Especially of, like, how crazy that scene was, where, like, again, he didn't want to throw it at to begin with. But again, Sam's like, don't you let go, Mr. Frodo, and he was able to pull him back up. But as the moment where the ring gets destroyed, like we talked about, like that big explosion, and then the fucking eye of Sauron in the fucking big ass castle looking thing, whatever tower you want to call it, just collapses. Sauron, as far as we know, is finally destroyed for the, well, I mean, yeah, because the ring's actually destroyed this time. He's finally, defeated. Middle Earth is saved. Everyone's concerned because the explosion, of course. They think it's like, of course, yeah, they destroy the ring, but because the mountain explodes, they think Sam and Frodo are also dead because of it. But luckily, they were able to escape. They're just exhausted, just laying on the rocks there, and then that's when Gandalf comes with the eagles, and picks them both up, and that's pretty much the epic conclusion to the ring, man.
Man, what a conclusion. Of course, Gollum. Of course, he had to show back up. Of course, I mean, he was their guide the whole time, and then he has to show up at the last second and try to ruin it all once again. Damn, Gollum! Like, this whole fucking episode, man, just shows me how much of an asshole Gollum is, man. But but yeah, I mean, that scene is pretty damn epic. And my wife is gonna kill me because I keep telling everybody every time that she cries. But she, when sorry, honey. When Sam starts carrying Frodo, and he says, "I can't carry the ring, but I'll carry you." That part again, she starts crying every year as well. But But yeah, anyways, the Eagles come, man. I think that played a huge part in the ending too. And everyone always says, well, if the Eagles if the Eagles could have just flew there, like the whole story would have just ended. No, the Eagles can't just fly there and take care of things because they would have got killed by the fucking Nazguls because the Nazguls was roaming around Mordor and the Eagles wouldn't have survived. But when the One Ring is gone, right? Like the 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 evilness and the Sauron is gone, so the Eagles can finally show up and save the day. Okay, but yeah, man, good job covering that. It seems like I always give you the fucking hard shit.
Yeah.
I gave you the Council of Elrond, I gave you the Battle of Helm's Deep, and now I gave you the ending of Frodo casting the ring into the fire. I'm sorry, bro.
Dude, I know. I was literally like, I was as I mean, it just happened to be that way. Well, except for Helm's Deep, that one you purposely just gave it away. But yeah, somehow like I've been tasked with all the fucking huge, most important scenes throughout the whole fucking trilogy. But it's also like, I mean, yeah, I mean they're important for a reason, and you're definitely like one of my favorite scenes for sure in all the movies. But yeah, man, it's like again, it's kind of crazy how at the end Frodo was portrayed in that way after carrying the ring the whole time. And again, Sam, pretty much, man, he's still saving the day, man.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's a great scene, and marks the end of this fucking journey that we've had for 3 movies.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. We have two more things that we need to talk about, and then we'll wrap this up. Right after Mordor is destroyed and the explosion happens, and the Eagles save Frodo and Sam. Now we have the crowning of King Aragon. Finally, the return of the king happens. So of course, Aragon, he spent most of his life in the shadows, hesitant to embrace his identity as a true king. Um, and then it pretty much the Aragon family has the right to call himself king. After all of this, finally. But Aragon's speech at the end of the film, pretty much the theme of it is hope, unity, and kind of embracing the land of the men once and for all. Aragon honors those who fell in battle, ensuring that their sacrifices are not forgotten. He speaks of a new era, one where the realms of men can unite and life can flourish once more. In his address, Aragorn explicitly recognizes his new queen, Arwen, which is, she arrives there and pretty much kind of a mortal being now. She's no longer the immortal elf that she could have become, but she's now mortal. And she shows up, and Aragorn as Aragorn is crowned. Her quiet strength and devotion highlights her belief in his destiny. She was always there. She was always there. She supported him and knew that he had everything in him before he even knew that he would become king. But her presence reassures him and kind of signifies the intertwining of their fates. Pretty much, Aragon has accepted that she is mortal now, even though he was always kind of told her like go to the land, like you should not become mortal, you're gonna die. Like, but no, she was like, I'm gonna stay here. But yeah, he gets the crown set on his head, and then he also addresses the hobbits. He addresses Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin in a warm and heartfelt manner. Of course, Aragorn expresses deep appreciation for their bravery and sacrifice, and he goes as far as to tell them, "My friends, you bow to no one." The famous statement at the end of this film, and then everyone else bows to the hobbits that defeated the One Ring, because without the hobbits, without their little brave, courage, this ending of this evil would have not concluded. But But yeah, I thought this was a good ending to the film. It was a very quick scene, which I guess compared to the entire movie, why not have it quick?
Mm.
But it was a pretty epic scene, and I think it was very emotional to the hobbits and to everyone watching that everyone bowed to the hobbits and not to King Aragon. But yeah, anything you want to add?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it was very quick and action movie.
Yeah.
But um, again, man, emotional, and again, going back to watching that shit in theaters, like yeah, I got emotional. Like, he's like that scene where he's like, you about to know, and it's like, dude, because he just takes you back again to everything that happens, uh, in all the movies, the fucking struggle, and yeah, man, without the hobbits again, like this journey, this destruction of the ring, wouldn't have been able to happen. So yeah, very very powerful, very emotional scene, and then yeah, I mean Aragorn finally gets crowned, like you said, king, and it's fucking cool to see fucking Gandalf place the fucking crown on his head, and he's the fucking king now, man. It's fucking sick to see.
Yep. He's a king, and he has a full beard now. It looks great.
Yeah, yeah. uh,
But we're gonna move on to the final scene we're gonna be talking about, and Eduardo's gonna take us on when the hobbits return to the Shire, and then Frodo ultimately leaves to the land of the Undying. Eduardo, take it away, man.
um, so yeah, they after the crowning of the king, the hobbits finally returned to the Shire, man, after such a long time. And it's kind of funny, how heartwarming scene. They're all at the pub, and then of course after everything Sam's been through, like how can you not have the courage? After everything you've done with the fucking killing the spider and having to deal with fucking Frodo and Gollum, like how can you not have the guts to finally get the girl? So he finally asks her. He gets the girl. They get married. So also, really good, nice little happy ending for Sam. And then it kind of cuts to Frodo, and he finally finished uh, the book. Man, he finally finished his part of the book, which is kind of cool too, because it says it was like the Hobbit, Hobbit's Tale, by Bilbo Baggins, and then The Lord of the Rings by Frodo, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, it cuts to Frodo. Well, all of them pretty much, but mainly just cuts to Frodo and Bilbo in the carriage, and they're heading towards the harbor, where Willie said that they'll head towards the land of the Undying, and he says, uh, Frodo. I mean, we don't know at that point, but Frodo just tells that Bilbo, that he's being honored by the elves, granting him a special honor, place on the last ship to leave Middle Earth. And then, again, just the effect that the ring has on, Frodo and Bilbo, from once carrying it himself. He asked Frodo one last time if he could see his ring. And then Frodo says that he's lost it. And then he's like, it's a shame that I would have loved to hold it one last time. And then again, it just like makes you think about not just the journey that they had in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but every Bilbo's journey in the Hobbit. So um, and then it cuts to the scene. Both Galadriel and Elrond are also waiting there, to leave on the ships with them. Bilbo says, he's quite ready for another adventure. Gandalf also, bids farewell. He said, his work is done. This, and then he says like this pretty much finally kind of marks the true end of the Fellowship. And then, as they're saying bye, Gandalf is like, "Come on, Frodo," and then everyone's like, "What the fuck's going on?" They're like, what? And Frodo's like, yeah, I'm also leaving. Um, and again, it kind of so it, pretty much and why I said Frodo wrote his part is because he gives the book to Sam, and he says that he left the last few pages for you, which is kind of cool too. Sam deserves his own little story within the uh, you know Lord of the Rings. But yeah, man, like I said, they leave. Um, they get on the ship that sails to Anmon, which is again the Undying Lands, which is the home of the elves and the Valor, which are these divine beings. It's no haven or no heaven, but it's a peaceful realm, free from illness, aging, pain, and spiritual burden. So that's why Frodo, opts into leaving also, because although he's still, I guess relatively young as far as like Hobbit years, whatever you want to call it, he's been just affected immensely by carrying this ring. And then even when he's like writing the book or finishing his part of the book, like he does tell Sam, like, it's been however long since Weathertop, but like the wounds is still like fresh pretty much. So again, like I said, the Undying Lands just kind of this realm where again it's like free from illness, aging, and the spiritual burden that they've had to endure for such a long time. So yeah, definitely a sad scene. That Frodo has to leave them, but um, I guess it kind of had to be done after all that he did.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy to think that in the first movie is when he got injured by the Morgul blade, and he's been carrying around that wound the entire time, and it's never going to heal. So that just tells you that the effects that the One Ring of Sauron had is still lingering after Mordor and the ring is destroyed. That's how embedded that the evil was actually to this whole story, that even after the evil is gone, it's still around in some sense, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just how lucky it is that Frodo is being that he gets to go to the land of the Undying, because he for sure would have died a really like painful death, and that wound would have like probably limited his life like in half because of how bad it
Yeah.
was. But yeah, epic scene, man. Gandalf, pretty much says like, I came back for this and it's done, and now I'm gonna go off and live my life now, because his entire life he's been trying to defeat this evil, and now the evil's gone. Now he can actually be at peace too. So pretty epic ending, man.
Yeah, it's fucking yeah, like I said, just deservingly so also for Gandalf, um, being this fucking wizard and going through all the shit that he's gone through also to protect literally everyone, not just men or hobbits or fucking elves. Like he like literally everyone in fucking Middle Earth. So um, yeah, definitely sad to see, but again, like heartwarming ending. Great ending to the whole franchise, the whole trilogy. Um, and yeah, man, I guess
Yeah.
we've also concluded our
Yeah.
epic breakdown to Lord of the Rings, at least as far as like the individual movies go.
Yeah, man. So exactly what he just said. We finally finished. So we broke down the Fellowship of the Ring. We broke down the Two Towers, and now we just finished breaking down the Return of the King. Eduardo, it's been a lot of talking. It's been a lot of scenes. It's been a lot to get into. And anything you want to add in reference to the Fellowship, Two Towers, or Return of the King? Anything else that you want to add that we might have missed, or that you feel like you want to talk about?
Um, yeah, somehow we managed to cut this episode shorter than the other one somehow, even though this is the longest fucking movie.
Yep.
But um, no, well, I did want to ask you, who do you think the top three most important characters are to Lord of the Rings. Because I'm like I have my three, so I'm curious to see what like your three would be.
On the spot?
Yeah, so I'm putting you on the spot,
You're
but
putting
I'm
me on the
letting you
spot?
know.
You know what? You know what? I'm not gonna answer that. I'm gonna let the audience enjoy that question too, and then I'm gonna answer that on the next episode. So we're gonna simmer on that. Slow your roll, Eduardo. All right, let me think about it. Damn it! Fuck.
you've had you've had 30 years to think about it.
So, so you asked me what's the most important?
uh, uh, who do you think the three most important characters are to the franchise, or to like Lord of the Rings specific? I mean, you can answer it next. I would just
Yeah,
because like,
I'm gonna think on that one because
but
I think I have three, but they might be wrong. So I'm gonna think on it.
there's only three correct people.
That's how I feel, right?
And then like I said, not based off like who you like the most. It's just after like, I mean, we've seen them so many times, but
Mm,
like this is the first time we've actually watched it with more of a purpose and like, paying attention more to like the
yeah.
characters and what they do and like just their overarching development and like again how big and
Mm,
what they mean.
yeah.
Um, so uh, it can differ from your top three favorite
Right.
characters in the movie.
Okay.
So just who you think overall would
Yeah.
is like without them like the whole movie or franchise whatever would fall apart or just not be the same because
Yeah.
they're not there or whatever.
Well, save your answers too. All right. And I gotta think on that one because that's actually a really hard question, and for you just to like throw that on me is really like that's pretty like disrespectful in a way. but but yeah, good question. I'm not gonna answer that. But yeah, I mean like we this was a lot to cover, man, and we did it. And then
Yeah,
we
it's a
have
lot.
one more episode that we're gonna do it. Do you want to give the audience everything that we're gonna be talking about?
Yeah, this one's gonna be a little bit more, I guess, more fun, or I don't know what you want to call it, but different than these other four episodes that we've done so far. But yeah, this one's gonna be kind of more just um, giving you a bunch of just more extra information about the movies. We're gonna go over um, kind of like our favorite scenes from each film. We're gonna be talking about the kind of like behind the scene things of how a little bit of how everything was kind of made, um, and stuff like that, as well as like the awards the movies won, the budget, how much the movies made, and then yeah, that's pretty much what that episode would be about. So a lot of cool information for those that like us, like how like I said, we love this type of thing. So um, awards, budget, like that shit's probably like I don't give a fuck or people don't really care. But for us, like that shit's you know uh, cool for us or whatever. Especially like, behind the scenes stuff of of how things were made and how they were able to again like we talked about how Peter Jackson was able to fucking create this fucking thing. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, that should be a pretty fun episode to do for sure.
Yeah, man. Just like you said, we're gonna talk about behind the scenes, the budget, the all the filming locations as well,
Yeah.
and then all the awards, and then we're gonna get into some of the deeper meanings behind the story. There's a lot of life lessons and deeper meanings in this story that Tolkien kind of gave to us, but we don't really realize what we were watching or what we were reading. There's a lot of hidden elements into this story, so I'm going to be talking about that. And then, of course, like Eduardo said, we're going to do it a little bit more personalized. We're going to be talking about our favorite scenes. We're going to be talking about our favorite worst characters, and then what Eduardo just sprung on me. I guess we're going to be talking about the three characters that was the most important to the story. Um, But yeah, anything else you want to add before we close out this episode, bro?
Uh, no, I just appreciate the viewers and the watchers, the fellowship that has joined us throughout this or throughout our journey through Mordor and Middle. But no, again, appreciate like I said, the likes, the comments, um, the follows, the subscribe, and please continue to do so on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X. We appreciate that for sure. And then, like I said, comment on stuff. We love engaging with you guys because we're also curious to see what your guys' thoughts are and your perspective on the movies. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed everything we provided you thus far with Lord of the Rings. Like I said, we'll definitely do more episodes in regards to Lord of the Rings. We'll figure out what we can do with that. The last time we'll be talking about it, but yeah, then the next episode should be, like I said, should be cool. Should be kind of fun. Talk about all the behind the scenes stuff and all that extra stuff. So
Hell yeah, man. Could not have said it better myself. With that being said, thank you all for joining us through all these parts. And please stay tuned for one more episode. You would definitely not want to miss that. But share the channel with your friends and family. And until next time, me and Eduardo is going to peace on out of here. And you all have a great night. We'll talk to you all later. Peace out.
peace.